that are doing better in America as the minority group with the highest number of people with PhD. What about across board, black people in general? What about all of those millions of people in Africa, 50 countries, right? What about them, right? Africa is not doing good. We know that. Are we gonna cap about that, right? So, hey, we gotta make this all inclusive. We gotta make this, and I think that's where the conversation needs to be heading, without discounting what the and these are sizable books. They are minimum 200 pages. You can download them absolutely for free by simply going to, for example, this one, you just go to getmymarriageback.com, smartrealestatewholesaling.com, realestatemoneysecrets.com. So yes, I am a 3 times author, and those books are out there for your consumption, and they are also available everywhere on Amazon, anywhere that you pick up books. So in case you prefer a physical book like that.
OSHAY, what's good, everybody? It's your boy OSHAY Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I have been.
Yes, absolutely. Me either. I just there was an attack between Nigerians and TARIQ Nasheed last week or 2 weeks ago, and I did a video about it, and the video completely blew up. Like we have like 1,200, and that ignited this channel. So I have to kind of like cover it, not necessarily having an opinion about it. I don't have any opinion about it. I don't get into debates either. Black Americans versus African talks. I have too many friends and 3 girlfriends who are from Africa. That's yeah, same here. Most of the foundational Black Americans people I know personally are extremely respectful people, and they probably won't have the tone that person just had just now either, but it doesn't matter. It's YouTube. Everyone is allowed to troll. Let's continue the video.
I've been very vocal in my support for our brother TARIQ Nasheed. I believe that in comparisons to people in the community like Umar Johnson, he gets things done. I look at him somebody who is at least more focused on what he's trying to do. I know people may feel that he may switch lanes quite often, but his Hidden History Museum being able to garner close to $2 million at the last minute shows that TARIQ Nasheed can do things that none of us on Black social media can do. He can galvanize an organic based audience and pitch an idea to make it work. That's something that nobody else can do. Even Umar Johnson can't do.
I mean, that's a fact. There's a lot of people, even foundational Black Americans, that are attacking him for raising money. But you need money for a movement. You do. And there's no movement out there that the leaders have not been attacked. So I don't see that completely out of the ordinary either. But I think that's a great thing that's able to galvanize his people and create a movement, that's meaningful enough for people to follow him, right?
And I celebrate the brother for that, and I'll continue to support him for that. I myself have been called out for supporting TARIQ Nasheed. As you can see here, here's a video from Pan-Africanism Strikes Back. It says OSHAY Duke Jackson simps for comment TARIQ Nasheed. So I've been also ridiculed for my support of this brother. So when I come and I look at the comments for you people talking about I'm a sellout.
Oh yeah, I've been ridiculed too. I had Africans come in and say, hey, stop appeasing these people, right? It's natural when especially you should expect it. If you have a platform, you're trying to create a movement, whatever it is, you should expect that there will be pushback against it. As a matter of fact, that's how the strength of the movement will be tested.
Because of my last video, I don't like African Americans. I need to make a choice. I'm simping from Africans. I just don't understand what you're talking about. And see, we have to be able to.
Wait. Simping for Africans? That could be true, because I just stumbled into a podcast platform by OSHAY Duke Jackson called the Ken Gunda. I forgot. But he has a new podcast platform right now where he's talking to some fine young African women there. So maybe he's simping. You never know, right?
Disagree without trying to throw somebody away and say that they're a sellout. All right. I've been to Africa 19 different times, but let's just be real. I'm an African American that's in Africa. All right. I am what you would call hashtag FBA, hashtag ADOS.
Now, that's very true. When you do travel to Africa, your outlook on the relationship between Africans and Black Americans will change. Okay, most people that have traveled to Africa will tell you that very quickly. There's something very spiritual that happens to you when you do go to Africa. Okay, so I would definitely suggest that even if it's just for tourism reasons, just travel. You're welcome to come. Trust me, it's not just all caves and stuff like that. You will be able to enjoy the same things you enjoy here, but you'll be just a few miles away from the villages, and you'll be able to connect with black, the real essence of black in terms of the source, right? And then maybe your outlook may be a little bit influenced a little bit in the direction of unity for us, right? As opposed to anything that will create division, even if you're right. You know, when you're right can also create division. I say that all the time on this platform. You could be right and you're creating division. That means everything you do is going to work against you. Same thing is applicable in a marriage. You could be right and be actively creating a division, right? So,
but I know that there's also issues with blacks in the diaspora, especially Africans and African Americans. I've made hundreds of videos about this, more ruthless than what you may have heard about it on TARIQ NASHEED's channel, talking about people in the African community and their disrespect of black Americans. But let me just tell you, you know, because I came to Poland to go to medical school, and I did graduate, but I was dealing with the African community head on. Because
wait, did you pick that up? He graduated from medical school, right? So for those of you that think that OSHAY Duke Jackson is a dusty, he graduated from medical school. By the way, just because you're educated and you're very smart and you have IQ doesn't mean you're not a dusty. Just FYI.
When you live in the black community abroad, there is no African Americans. You know, when I'm going to London, there's no African Americans. When I'm in Germany, there's no African Americans. When I'm in Poland, everybody's African. So I've learned to understand who I'm dealing with. I've learned to understand, you know, some of the things about the African people, and I look for the similarities in us instead of what we're disagreeing with. And let me tell you, there are going to be people in any section that are going to talk.
That's all I'm suggesting. Let's look for the common goals and let's work together. That's it. Okay? If you read disrespect in that, then your problems are beyond this platform. Simply block this platform. Don't come back again. Okay? If all you read from what I just said is condescension, you need to block this platform. Don't come back again. It's pointless, right? Because, again, I know that there are people that no matter what you say, all they hear is condescension. That's all they hear. They always feel something is about to attack them, right? And maybe what I'm saying right now sounds condescending to them. I mean exactly what I am saying. What I am saying is that I'm suggesting, just like a foundational black American, OSHAY Duke Jackson, let's look for the common goal. Let's have a conversation from that standpoint. Okay? Now, the cheetah eater, cheetah pea conversations, that's banters. I'm all for that. I like the smoke too.
Talk shit about you. There are going to be those disgruntled, low performing, okay, people in the African diaspora that are going to have bad things to say about African Americans. All right. And here's my point to TARIQ NASHEED. He raised $2 million. How many of them talking shit about African Americans can raise $2 million? And I'm not telling people to just sit back and just take abuse from anybody. I'm talking about in TARIQ NASHEED's case. All right. You know, the guy's already raised $2 million. You know, we're talking to trolls in the Twitter chat room who can't even raise $2, maybe $20, $200. That's my point, because
I mean, easy, right? Everyone in the chat rooms are not trolls. Like social media, it consists of people, human beings like you and I. Among them, the loudest are usually the trolls. Usually, not always, but the truth is that some of those people are the ones that donated as well. In fact, I am guessing that they probably use a GoFundMe platform to raise all of that money, right? That means they came from online as well, right? So we're very quick to blame social media and trolls online for, like, this is a great tool that we can use to perpetuate the message or good messages even more. So I just want to push back against that real quickly.
You would never find somebody in another community who's successful at raising $2 million, even being in the same room as an unsuccessful troll like that. And I'm going to tell you why we like these roast sessions. And you know me, I get my roast on too. I'm not as good as the top elite, you know, with the Sinful to P and TARIQ NASHEED, right? I'm number 3. I can.
Now, OSHAY is extremely good at the roasting. I'm a big fan of his channel. His channel is supposed to be a manosphere channel. Like, nah, he's a YouTuber. He's a hell of a YouTuber. He's very good at what he does. I've stumbled into 3 of his different channels, huge subscriber base, that he's actively building this as a business from literally thousands of miles away from America. So don't get it twisted. Don't ever get that twisted. He's very good at roasting. I enjoy him roasting other people. I did push his neck a little bit on my last video about him, because he was taking unnecessary sides between the lead attorney and Nick at Night. But I like OSHAY, you know, and this is a good video actually, but he's gonna make some boo-boo towards the end. Let's keep watching.
I still got some smoke, but I ain't good as those guys, all right? But the reason why we love the smoke sessions and the roast sessions with these other immigrants and other groups, I'm gonna tell you why that is. Because that's the only power that we have. Because many of us are living in the past. And I'm gonna say some things that's gonna make y'all upset. And as an African American, for the people who've done things for me, those who set the standard for my life, my great grandmother came from Natchitoches, Louisiana during the Great Migration to California, as well as my grandmother. My other grandmother came from Bastrop, Louisiana. See, they didn't have the opportunities that I have to be able to go to school. You know, my mother went to UC Davis. She was the first benefactor of what happened in the Great Migration. Because see, those people did something for us so that I can benefit now. A lot of people argue on the FBA hashtag ADOS. We built this country? No. Our ancestors were the ones that did that. We haven't done nothing in the last 30.
Oh yeah, if you're an African, listen to me, never say what he just said. Okay? Never say that. Okay, never say, hey, you didn't be. In fact, I can't say it because I don't want anybody to cut it up as a sound bite and say, hey, that guy is attacking or he's full of shit. Okay, I don't think you have the right to say that. But again, he's foundational Black American, so he can say whatever he wants.
Years. That's why we're living in the past, and everybody else is living in the present, and we're getting our asses kicked. So because we don't teach people how to treat us, because
also, to be fair, that's a little bit out of context. So of course, when people say they built this country, they're talking about their ancestors, right? So yeah,
we as a Black community don't work with our brothers and sisters because we don't treat our Black women and our Black men with respect. And I'm guilty of that at times. Okay, I've done that. You see?
Oh, how is that for accountability, right? How is that for some accountability for the great OSHAY Duke Jackson?
When they come over here and they see how we treat each other, then they start treating us like we treat ourselves. And then we want to get mad, talk about words of disrespect, because we are not doing what the forefathers told us to do.
Okay, Africans, never give that terrible excuse. Don't say because you attack each other, I have the right to attack you. Please don't do that. Don't do that, okay? That's terrible. But you know, OSHAY is busy simping to us here. I think we can handle that.
We didn't follow what John Henry Clark told us to do. We didn't do what Amos Wilson told us to do. We did what we wanted to do. And now people are coming over here who are more disciplined than us, beating us at our own game. Now you want to be mad at them. And I get it. We can go back and roast them. But you know what that's showing? That we don't have no real power because all we got is a roast. We told them off. You think that's going to change how the way Ethiopians feel? How Somalians feel?
Well, we kind of already established that TARIQ NASHEED at least has a little bit more power than just roasting. He's raised $2 million. He's built a massive movement from, you know, fighting for reparations, for foundational Black Americans, consisting of Native Americans, Black Americans that were exploring before the powers that be took over, and the Black Americans that were descendants of slaves, right? So he's proven that he's a little bit more than roast, but that nigga can roast people.
I'll tell you what, I got a better solution. And I appreciate the work that the brother TARIQ NASHEED was able to do, because he was able to get $2 million from a sleeping giant, and we got more to give to do things to develop our community. So that's just a little, that was light work. And he did that with only 150-something thousand subscribers here on YouTube. But you know what we need to do? Instead of going back and forth with these little roast sessions, How about you start pulling your people up every day? How about you start?
But to be fair, the roast session is attracting attention to the movement, right? But I've also had other sessions where I say, hey, if your roast is overwhelming the actual message, that can backfire, right? But let's be fair. The roast session can absolutely attract attention, and then you can filter out whatever your main goal is from that situation, right? We all need attention when we're running some kind of business or maybe a non-charity organization. He's been accused of trademarking foundational Black Americans, but again, that's neither here nor there.
Creating opportunity with your people. How about you start going into business with your people and elevating the standard so that our people can respect it? How about you start doing that, all right? Like the Jews do, like Chinese people do. They make sure their people can get in high up.
All right, so that's some of the good talking points that can come out of Manosphere. The idea of business, the idea of building business, the idea of building ourselves, the idea of building empires, right? The name of my company is My Empire Pro. The idea of building. Stop spending so much time talking about women, right? So that's about the good things, conversations that can come out of the Manosphere. And OSHAY Duke Jackson is one of the people that's pushing that in this space.
Positions, they get the skills qualified necessary for people to respect them. So when people dish you, you have what the Jewish have, the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League. Because see, they ain't got to go on Twitter and roast folks. You see, because you know better than to talk to them.
So I have a question for us Black people in general. Do we spend a lot more energy on activism than taking power and building empires? As Black people in general, both Africans, both on diaspora, both continental Pan-Africanism, do we spend a lot of energy on activism more in general? Do you notice that we do that? I think that's what he's speaking to here for all of us, basically.
Crazy, right? Because their people own industries. See, we have a lot of situations and stuff like here in America that we could be doing, pulling our people into those things. Our HBCUs, we don't support them. We haven't had a new medical school in Black America since 1972. But now here we.
Well, as you can see, I was scrolling through the comment as I was watching it as well on that screen, and there was somebody that actually pushed against him in the comment, and they mentioned like 4 different HBCUs that are actively medical schools right now. So, I don't know which one is true. Are there medical schools that are HBCUs out there? I think there are, right? I think there's probably one in Atlanta, I think.
We are wanting to roast other people. Now, I get that we can do it, and it might be warranted when people talk too much trash, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna make them change how you feel about you. You need more productive African Americans, because we've had African Americans in the city of Philadelphia running the city, in the city of Detroit running the city.
Well, we need more productive Africans and African Americans. It's not just African Americans that are falling behind. African countries on the continent are falling behind. You see them, they're not producing enough. So they find themselves every 4 years in the quote-unquote democratic countries voting for the wrong people because they depend on scrums from the politicians to feed themselves. And the only way around that is if they produce more, because for as long as you're not producing, you will end up subjecting yourself to your superiors. Unfortunately, at this point in time, is the white supremacy, right? So it's not just Black Americans, to be fair. It's Black people, period, around the world.
Every day is something new, but you've still got to get ahead.
We've had the opportunities in Memphis, in Jackson, Mississippi, and we all know how that turned out. You see, if we really want to have a conversation, then why are we at the bottom? What are we doing that keeps us at the bottom? I'm not worried about what 2 or 3 million Africans may or may not be saying about me, or even Hispanic. I don't even listen to that. I don't care anything about that, because I know my people are a very special people. If you don't like us,
at an individual level, that should be the case. So if you're Black American, you're African person, you really shouldn't be too concerned about what people are saying about your group people. If it doesn't apply, you should let it fly at an individual level. But if you have a movement and you feel like people have this generalistic disrespect for your movement, then it's okay to speak up against that. There's nothing wrong with that, because those rhetorics can absolutely destroy the goal of your movement. So this is for the foundation of Black Americans. You feel like Africans are saying certain things and they have this utmost disrespect when they come into the conversation. You have the right to push against that, because if it was otherwise, the same thing will be applicable, right?
I just don't care, because you know what? When I come to Africa and I'm carrying the African American brand, I'm getting a lot of love because of what people have done for me in my life.
Exactly why I am inviting everybody to Africa. If you're a Black American, listen, the love is mad. If you're coming from the United States to Africa, oh my God, you will change your mind. You will change your rhetoric. You will change your outlook. You will look for solutions as opposed to spending too much time on highlighting the problems of the relationship.
Because of the success that our folks had in the past. Are you living that success? Because you know what, the life I'm living right now, my grandma couldn't live this life. My mom wasn't able to live this life, but because of what my family and what the people before did for me. Even when I was in the 13, 14, we had deacons at our church that came all the way from, Mobile, Alabama, and Jackson, Mississippi, and Little Rock, Arkansas, places like that, parts of Tennessee, that moved because they came to McClellan Air Force Base in North Highlands, and they came in the Navy and things like that. And they talk to young Black men like me, want me to be somebody. Can you imagine them having some roast sessions with people because they don't like them? It is your job to pull your people up, and then you make people respect you because you pulled your people up, not because you roasted them to death, but because you pulled them up. And you respect your people, you respect your legacy, you respect your businesses, you respect your economy. Is it their fault that our money stays in the Black community for 6 hours and it leaves? That ain't their fault. That's our fault.
That's real. That is so real. The same thing I just said about Africans, right? If you don't have economy power, you end up depending on the political power. And then you end up having to vote as a general, maybe not you as an individual, you vote for the wrong people, right? But when there's economy power, right, you have better choices. You probably will be less concerned about the political power, and naturally, you will vote for the right leaders,
So when somebody says that Black women have, all these kids out of wedlock, and they mention it, is it our fault? We get mad. Of course, I would get mad too, because they're hurt, because it's true. We are the worst generation of productivity in the African-American race ever. Right?
Let me add on to that. As Africans, as Black people, period. Okay? Yes, I'm making this all inclusive. We have to do better. Okay? As not just as Black Americans, as Black people, period. Okay? It's very easy to point at the Nigerians that are doing better in America as the minority group with the highest number of people with PhD. But what about across board, Black people in general? What about all of those millions of people in Africa, 50 countries, right? What about them, right? Africa is not doing good. We know that. Are we gonna cap about that? Right? So, hey, we gotta make this all inclusive. We gotta make this, and I think that's where the conversation needs to be heading, without discounting what the reparations and other rights that the foundation of Black Americans are fighting for, or aid us.
Right now, that's the facts. We don't want to look at that, but we are. In comparison to the people of our past, we are the biggest embarrassment in this generation to our ancestors. It's the truth. And the way that we want to get around that is by roasting people. You can't roast being unproductive. I'm sorry, you can't. And that goes for any other immigrant group that has something to say about us.
Yes, you can. You just roasted being unproductive. OSHAY literally just roasted being unproductive, right? But I'm just making it all inclusive. Black people in general, we needed to hear this, right? So kudos to him for
we want them to stop talking. Let's get productive. Let's start kicking ass. Let's start getting into these little things. Start owning businesses. Start owning our own colleges, supporting our own colleges, so they don't be closing down, okay? So our HBCUs don't close down like they did before in Atlanta. Then we can talk based off our achievements. We are not achieving, which is why we're roasting, okay? So guys, what do you think? It's your boy, OSHAY Duke Jackson. Back at it again.
Back at it again. All right, so